Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Daily with Doc. And today is actually Pharmacist Fridays on Daily with Doc, where we have the amazing pharmacist Ben Fuchs. So, folks, if you were invited by somebody specific, get back with them and make sure that you tell them thank you, because they cared enough about you to take the time to share this program with you, knowing that there's going to be something in it that is going to be beneficial to you, your health, whether it's not just for you, someone in your family or in your community. You are not here by accident. My name is Becca Dukes, and welcome, everybody. We have a room full here. And yes, we are live. So if you would like to join us live and you're watching the live stream or a replay, you're more than welcome to do so by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern. And we do take holidays off so that you can be part of your family. And because we know we have people that don't want to miss an episode, but folks, you can find us by doing a search for either Critical Health News or Daily with Doc, and you will find us on all the different platforms that we are being streamed to. So without further ado, I just want to say, folks, if you're here live with us, make sure that you are paying attention to a smile, the profile that says a smile. You can pin that and have the chat open, because the information that's being put in the chat is only available here in the live Zoom, not available anywhere else. If we ask your question, make sure that you take a picture, as our co-hosts are amazing at dictation and putting what is being spoken into the chat. So you can easily do a screenshot and then share it with the person that brought you to this program. Now, if there is no one to thank and you found us on your own, we have a call team of certified holistic health coaches waiting to help you go from survive to thrive. Or if you're already thriving, let's keep it that way. Give us a call at 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. Now, for those of you who do not know our special guest today, it is my honor and privilege to bring to the world somebody that has been taught in pharmacy, but is using nutritional supplements where other healthcare professionals use toxic pharmaceutical drugs. So yes, he is very much schooled and keeps up on his continued education when it comes to being a registered pharmacist. But he is also a compound pharmacist where he has his own pharmacy there in Colorado, where he has an amazing individual, not only pharmacy school, not only very educated in nutrition, he is also part of the scientific advisory board for longevity. He's a health expert. He's a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. And he knows for a fact that when you give the body what the body needs, the body itself was designed divinely to heal and renew itself. So listen up, folks, as we're going to be talking about something that affects women all over the world. And, you know, it's very painful, and it's something that can cause so much distress and pain when in people that are wanting to create families and not able to, and just the inconvenience that so many people think is associated with women and having their monthly cycles. So, Pharmacist Ben, let's talk about PCOS. And can you start by, sharing with us a little bit about, some of the symptoms, because people may not know PCOS, Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, and just know symptoms, which is what Dr. Wallach focuses on all the time, looking at the symptoms, connecting with the nutritional deficiencies.
Well,
so,
yes. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I always feel like I feel so good about myself after you give my introduction. Oh my God, what a great ego boost. You want to do my Match.com profile for me, please?
Hey, when you do yours, I'll do mine, and then, we're in this together, buddy.
Okay. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Buddy.
I am all that and a bag of chips. Thank you.
And so much more. That's right. So much more. That's just the abbreviated introduction.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If you want to write a book, I'll help you. So anyway, I'm going to talk about PCOS, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, polycystic, key phrase, polycystic, many cysts, ovarian, key phrase or keyword, ovaries, and syndrome, key phrase or keyword, because it means that there's lots of things happening due to one cause. That's what a syndrome is when you hear about syndromes. So a couple things come to mind. Before I even start, I got this article today, and I just thought it was so cool. I had to print it out. I don't know if Doc's on the call today, but this is something Doc's been talking about forever, as have I. This is from Medscape. Medscape is an official web page for physicians. There's nothing alternative about it. And the headline here, we'll talk about this some other time, but I just thought it was interesting. Food is medicine, diet's role in Parkinson's disease. I'm not going to talk about it today, but I just want you to see that's mainstream medicine talking about that. So, don't wait for mainstream medicine to authorize or verify or bless what Dr. Wallach and myself and other folks at Longevity have been talking about for years. We're talking common sense here, just logic, just how the body works. And contrary to popular opinion or belief, the medical model does not use common sense. They don't work with common sense. They're the opposite of common sense, and they think that drugging the body and poisoning the body will sometimes make the body better, which is anti-common sense. So we can talk about that some other time. I just thought that was interesting, so I thought I would just mention it at the beginning of our talk today. Secondly, Becca, you should be doing this talk on PCOS. You just wrote a book on it, not exactly mentioning PCOS, but really mentioning the cause of PCOS, which is, of course, metabolic syndrome. And for those who don't know, I'm sure a lot of folks on this call already know, Doc and Becca wrote a book recently called Metabolic Syndrome. Yes, you should show it. It's very simple, easy to read book, got tons of great information. And not only does it have tons of great information, but it's really a very important subject. Metabolism's everything. Sometimes people hear the word metabolism and don't really know what that actually means. Metabolism is the sum total of biochemical reactions in the body. That's a combination of breakdown and build up. The body is like a business. It's breaking down in the sense that a business is always spending money. It's building up in the sense that a business is always making money. So businesses are in the black. They make money. They're in the red. They lose money. In terms of metabolic syndrome and the body being like a business, the body is also either in the black or in the red. If you're healthy, in the black. If you're not healthy, in the red. And the main point here is that the body's constantly breaking down and constantly building up. And the breakdown doesn't matter except for how relative to the buildup. You want more buildup than breakdown. Breakdown's not a problem as long as it's less than the buildup. You're always spending money in your business. That's not a problem as long as you're spending less than you're making. You want to be in the black. So in the body, spending money is called catabolism, breakdown. Making money is called anabolism, buildup. And breakdown plus build up equals your bottom line, and anabolism plus catabolism equals metabolism. Metabolism is the sum total of biochemical reactions that produce energy in the body. And this energy is produced either from breaking things down or it's spent from building things up. Any way you look at it, it's about energy. The body's main role is to make energy from food. That's its raison d'etre, to turn food into energy so we can survive. And for eons, for thousands and thousands of years, there wasn't a lot of energy around. So the body developed all of these systems to make sure that it could conserve the energy, it could use the energy efficiently, it could turn food into energy at will or with efficiency. And this was the case for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years, depending on how you look at human evolution. Over the last 100 to 150 years, we've completely turned that system, our food procurement system, on its head, and we've created a food supply that has turned a deficit situation, that is a shortage of calories, into an extreme excess situation, extreme excess of calories. And I mean extreme. We're quadrupling or quintupling the amount of calories that we need on a regular basis. It's as simple as that when it comes to reversing chronic degenerative disease. This is really, really important to understand. We are suffering from eating diseases, and we don't make that link for a lot of reasons. First of all, because it's not an immediate link. You don't notice your diabetes, your high blood pressure, your cancer, your skin problems, your reproductive problems as being linked to McDonald's or Snickers bars or French fries, because it takes a little bit of time, so we don't notice that. Secondly, we're hypnotized into believing that we should be eating what's put in front of our faces and in front of our eyes and our minds in terms of commercials and marketing and advertising, which has also grown exponentially and more sophisticated over the last 100 and 150 years. People, we're being brainwashed. Our strings are being yanked. We're being treated like puppets. This should make us so angry. Our strings are being yanked, not just by McDonald's, but by the government, by the medical model, by those people who are trusting to give us the straight scoop. And the individual doctors are not necessarily complicit because they're mostly nice people, but the ones who are arrogant about it and the ones who themselves bought the party line are complicit. So we have to get our hands around this, or our minds around this, or our bellies around this, and our mouths around this idea that what we eat is so important. And every time I talk about it, I can almost see people rolling their eyes. Not necessarily the 5 people on my banner who are part of Longevity, maybe not even people on this call, but people roll their eyes when they hear this, and we suffer from it. We just ran through a viral infection where everybody was told they had to lock themselves in their house and inject themselves with some unknown material and wear masks and not talk to their kids and watch their loved ones die through a window and all the horrible things because of an eating disease. Yes, it was an eating disease. The only people who suffered severe issues from that thing that just happened, which we can't mention, and it's on the way, another one's coming up, by the way, are people who were dealing with eating problems. And by eating problems, I mean excess energy. When I talk about eating problems, there's a few ways you can look at our eating problems in terms of chemicals in the food, in terms of how foods are grown, pesticides, soil deficiency, soil depletion, processing, etc. But the biggest problem is this large input of very quick releasing energy into the body. The problem is we're hypnotized and programmed, number one. Number two, we don't eat because we're hungry. We eat because we're not comfortable. And discomfort is not always physical. It can be emotional and it can be mental. So it's really hard to tell somebody who has no purpose or sad or depressed or whatever, has some kind of emotional, mental reason that they can't have their happy food anymore. But we pay the price. Metabolic syndrome, the book that Rebecca and Dr. Fit wrote a book about, has all kinds of symptoms associated with it, but the problem is in metabolism, which is in the derivation of energy from food, which is the end result of an explosion of energy in the things we eat. It's like we're trying to drink water from a fire hose. That's how we obtain energy today. We used to obtain energy by trying to by getting energy with a little with tweezers and a thimble, like this. Now we're getting energy from a fire hose and we're frying out our circuits. And while metabolic syndrome is the second point on the triangle of disease, it is the jumping off point to everything else. It all starts with digestion, with the intestine, the liver, and the gallbladder, and bile, etc. And as we're talking about today, this PCOS condition has a major digestive component. But the first thing to do, the immediate jumping off point to PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, is insulin and sugar. And it's so heartbreaking to me that something as simple as changing the way you eat can be so marginalized and so dismissed as being unsophisticated or alternative. And it costs us joie de vivre at almost every level of our health, including, number one, as you mentioned, infertility. Do you know almost 25% of women are infertile? Do you realize the infertility rates between men and women are approaching 50%? This is craziness, utter and complete craziness. Excess symptoms of, obviously, polycystic ovarian syndrome only affects women, and excess male, or how they biochemists say androgenic symptoms, are also associated with PCOS patients. So your PCOS patient will have lots of secondary male sexual characteristics, including body, facial hair, mustache, body hair, hair falling out, alopecia, pattern baldness, female pattern baldness. They'll also have oily skin and acne, sometimes severe acne, cystic acne at times. And this has to do with the relationship between the intestine and PCOS. So in addition to infertility issues, and they'll also have body hair and facial hair, hair loss on the face, oily skin, acne, weight gain, intractable weight gain that they can't lose, chronic fatigue, severe menstrual problems, including menstrual cramps. You can see this is a horrible, horrible thing. You've got a woman who is having cramps and problems with her menstrual cycle. She can't conceive. She's losing her hair. She's got severe acne, cystic acne, oily skin, hair on her body, and a mustache. You think this woman's happy? This is a terrible scourge. It's a terrible thing. And you can rest the symptoms right on the lap or right on the doorstep of metabolic syndrome. PCOS is one of the signs of metabolic syndrome, which is like the disease with 1,000 faces. And PCOS is one of the faces of metabolic syndrome. Now, metabolic syndrome itself is linked to digestive health issues, so the first point in the triangle of disease has to be addressed as well. I will tell you, if you go to the doctor for PCOS, and 15 years ago, they didn't even know what PCOS was. It's only in the last few years that people have understood about PCOS. Doc's been talking about it for decades. I've been talking about it for decades. I noticed it in the skin business because that's the major complaint that people have when they have PCOS is skin problems. So I noticed it a long time ago. And today, if you go to a physician, one of the things you'll get for PCOS is diabetes medication, like metformin. Another thing you'll get is female hormone medication to counteract the male hormone, the symptoms of male hormones. But the problem is female hormones and male hormones are both involved with PCOS. So taking hormonal treatment for PCOS is not a great solution either. The only way to get back to deal with this PCOS condition is the simplest way. And I make a little joke, but it's not a joke. It's very serious. We suffer, because we're all smart people, and this is a disease that smart people suffer from, right, Sportus? I know I'm always teasing you about this. The disease that smart people suffer from is called overthinkitis. Don't overthink. Don't overthink. Every single person who has PCOS, and if there's anybody on this call who has PCOS, or anybody listening to this in the future who has PCOS, you will know you got food problems. There's foods that make you feel uncomfortable, constipation, diarrhea, loose stools, cramping, bloating. It always happens with PCOS. You'll also notice that you have blood sugar issues. Blood sugar issues are a little harder to notice, but you'll find that you're craving high carbohydrate foods, craving sugary foods. You're fatigued after meals. You've got weight gain around the middle that just occurs suddenly. All of these are dead ringer signs for metabolic syndrome and dysglycemia. So if you got PCOS, problems with your menstrual cycle in combination with skin problems and combination with body hair problems in combination with infertility, and as it progresses, you can go into autoimmunity, You can go into movement disorders and mental health issues. It can progress pretty significantly. But if you have PCOS issues, here's how simple it is to deal with. You work on the first point of the triangle of disease, you work on the second point of the triangle of disease, and you use your longevity supplements accordingly. Healthy blood sugar pack, and then all the digestive support supplements. It's a simple, and then work on the first point of the triangle of disease via food diary, and work on the second point of the triangle of disease via ketogenic diet or low-calorie diet or intermittent fasting. And we'll talk about some of these strategies here in a minute. It's as simple as that. And one of these days, I'm not even going to be necessary. You're going to say, Ben, you said it all a million times. You said it for everything that every health challenge we got. You say the same thing. We don't need you anymore. And that'd be a dream come true for me. As soon as everybody can nail this thing down, because you don't need me. This is just troubleshooting. It's engineering. It's logic. You don't need a degree. Have I ever said anything that is so complicated that you feel like you need to have a college degree or a medical degree or a science degree, or you have to go to medical school, or you have to do research at the library? It's so simple. It's so darn simple, and it is not medical. I'm going to say that 3 times because it's so important. PCOS is not medical. PCOS is not medical. PCOS is not medical. We immediately think of things as medicine because we've been programmed to think of it that way. If you go to the doctor when you have a cold, if you go to the doctor when you have hypertension, if you go to the doctor when you have PCOS, you've drank the Kool-Aid. I did a talk about 20 years ago in Texas. And I talked about something called memes. Nobody had heard of memes back in 2003. Today, if I ask you what a meme is, everybody's heard of memes because they all think of memes as being a cartoon on the internet. That's not what a meme is. A meme is a unit of memory, like a gene is a unit of genetics. The word comes from a guy named Richard Dawkins, who wrote a book back in the 1980s, I believe, called The Selfish Gene. And he came up with the idea that that genes pass themselves on just to replicate themselves. They don't care about the passer of the gene. They don't care about you or me. The gene just wants to pass itself on. That's the mission of genes. Well, memes have the same kind of drive or the same kind of goal. A meme only cares about spreading. It doesn't care about you or me or who it spreads to. It just wants to spread. Memes are units of information, like genes are units of genetics, which is kind of an information. The other name for a meme is a virus, a mind virus. What's a virus? I remember when this whole viral thing happened a couple of years ago. My mom, who's not really medically trained, or she's very unsophisticated, I wanted to see what she thought a virus was. And you know, she'd heard it on the news, obviously, and everybody was talking about it. And probably some of you guys can relate to this. If I asked you what a virus is, you say, what the heck is it? I don't know. My mom said, I think it's a little bug, a little insect that crawls around. She really thought that. She was closing her window so the virus wouldn't come in. This is what people think a virus is. And I'm probably, you know, I'm not trying to pick on my mom or make fun of her. This is just how we think of it. And there's probably some people on the call, right now, or listening on YouTube or on the video in the future, who I said what a virus is, they wouldn't know. But yet we obviously know viruses play an important role in our culture and play an important role in our lives, particularly over the last few years. So what's a virus? A virus is a unit of information. That's all it is, a piece of genetics. And what makes this virus so nefarious, so insidious, is the virus, like all memes, like all units of information, just like a gene, and a virus is like a gene, it's a group of genes. It doesn't care about you or me, it just wants to spread. And that's bad enough with a virus that causes colds or causes infections or causes physical health challenges. That's bad enough. But there's other ways viruses can insidiously pass themselves through. One way they can insidiously pass themselves through is through your computer. We all know we have a computer virus. And if you ever had a computer virus, you know it could be pretty disastrous. Why is a computer virus disastrous? Because it's a piece of information, a piece of software that passes itself to all your contents, through all your contacts, to all their computers and all their contacts and all their computers. It doesn't care about you or me or your hard drive or your computer or your contacts. It just wants to spread. That's a computer virus, which is insidious and nefarious, just like a biological virus is insidious and nefarious in the sense it doesn't care about us. It just wants to spread. Well, guess what? A meme is the same way. A meme is not a funny cartoon on the internet. That's an adulteration and a corruption. A meme is an idea. Memes are ideas. And advertisers love memes because they want to spread ideas. If you ever found yourself driving along the highway singing the McDonald's song or the Burger King song or the American Family Insurance song or whatever it is, you've been infected by a meme. If you've ever told somebody something that you only heard, that you don't know if it's true, but somebody else told you it's true, you've been affected by a meme. If you go to the doctor when you have a cold, you have been infected by a meme. If you go to the doctor and you have high blood pressure, you've been infected by a meme. If you interact with the medical model for something that has to do with your lifestyle, you've been infected by a meme. If you keep going to the doctor every day or every week or every month for a condition that he can't help you with, and he tells you he can't help you with, you've been infected by a meme. And so present company excluded, the vast majority of us have been infected by this viral, this nasty, insidious virus that says if you have any biological problem, you got to go to the doctor to fix it. It's a lie. It's a meme. It's a virus. It's an infection. And it doesn't care about us. It will kill us, that idea, as long as it spreads. It could care less about us as long as it spreads. And PCOS, going to a medical intervention for PCOS is a classic example of it. A classic example of an infection by a meme. PCOS is nothing more than an eating issue on that involves the first 2 points of the triangle of disease. And it's no accident that the first 2 points, the foundation of the triangle, are both related to the input of energy, which of course means food. The first point of the triangle of disease is the input of energy into the body in a big way. That is the chunks of hamburger or banana or pizza, whatever it is we're eating. And the second point of the triangle is the microscopic quantum way of dealing with energy, but they both are energy issues. The body is exquisitely balanced. And when you flood it with energy, you throw everything off. This is why eating is so important, not because I'm Mr. Food Guy, not because I'm Mr. Organic Guy, not because I'm David Avocado Wolf, not because I'm talking here, I want everybody to make sure that they eat correctly. It's because when you put a nuclear bomb of energy in the body, you explode all the biological systems and you can't help but deal with a health challenge. That's why food is so important, not because you're a good boy or a bad boy. And I even hate that term, good food, bad food, because it simplifies and infantilizes the idea that eating is a complicated biochemical phenomena or has complicated biochemical phenomena associated with it. Eating is the hardest thing we have to do to the body. Eating anything disturbs the body's exquisite balance. The body's a closed system. There's a law in physics called the law of conservation of momentum that says in a closed system, a circle with no entry points, that's what a closed system is, a circle with no entry points, everything stays the same. I'm paraphrasing. I'm simplifying. The law of conservation of momentum says in a closed system, everything stays the same. But of course, we don't have a closed system in the body. You got openings. One opening is through the skin, and that's why I've always said, be very careful about what you inject in your skin. And just because some medical professional says it's okay, doesn't mean it's okay, because we know medical professionals are wrong all the time. So be very respectful and careful what you inject into your skin, into your body through your skin. But for most of us, the biggest portal, the biggest entry point into the body, and when we say into the body, we mean into the blood. We say into the body, but we really mean into the blood, is food. PCOS is no different. It's a food issue largely. So your PCOS patient, first and foremost, has to work on the first point in the triangle of disease. How do you work on the first point in the triangle of disease? Well, from two directions. From what you're putting in that you want to eliminate and what you're not putting in that you want to put in. Those two directions. Eliminating the bad stuff and putting in the good stuff. Food diary, PCOS patient, food diary. And I should, as a little addendum here or a corollary, when you have a food problem, it's usually in terms of fats. Basic distinction of biochemistry is water and fat. You know, we all heard oil and water don't mix. Fat is oil. We all heard oil and water don't mix. And this is a primary distinction in biochemistry and all of chemistry between things that go into water and things that go into fat or into oil. We say, in chemistry, we say hydrophilic, meaning water, hydro, loving, philic, and lipo, fat-loving lipophilic. By far and away, the largest problem we have when it comes to foods are with the lipophilic foods, because lipophilic, fat-soluble, fatty stuff sticks like Velcro. If you looked at it under an electron microscope, you'd see there are little things that stick just like Velcro sticks. Water flushes. If you have peanut butter and jelly on a knife and you put the knife under water, what rinses off? The peanut butter or the jelly? Obviously the jelly. Jelly comes right off. The peanut butter, you got to have soap. You got to scrub to get the peanut butter off. If you ever got an oil stain on your shirt, you know, it doesn't come off very, very easily. You got to go have a heavy-duty solvent at the dry cleaners to get that off because oil is sticky. So oil foods or oil nutrients, oil components to foods create the greatest difficulty for us when it comes to digestive issues, which is why high water content foods are so valuable. What are high water content foods? Vegetables, and to a certain extent fruits. Fruits should be, but we've bred our fruits to be super sweet these days, so it's a little problematic. But vegetables, especially watery vegetables, cucumbers, peppers, celeries, anything that has lots of water to it, and also, by the way, veggie juices. So the first thing you do with PCOS is you work on foods focusing on fat, the digestion of fats and the input of fatty foods. Now, I remember where we talked about this, because I do so many of these talks, but I think it was with AJ maybe. We said fats are the molecules of inflammation and anti-inflammation. Was that with you, AJ? I was talking. Fats control the inflammatory process, and everybody in this call probably knows all diseases are inflammatory. So once you put the wrong fats into the system, and those wrong fats can be either wrong fats because of how they're cooked at McDonald's, and so why deep fried fats are such a problem. Even oil's a problem. Doc's been talking about this for decades. He's 100% right on. Or whether it's how the body is processing the fats at the level of the liver or the bile or the pancreas or even the stomach and the intestine, the bacteria. Once your fats are thrown off, you are off to the inflammatory disease races. Do not pass go like in Monopoly. You just go right through. You're off to the disease races once your fats are off. So controlling for fat processing or for disturbances or in how the body processes fats is job number one, really for anybody who's got a digestive health issue, but we're talking here about PCOS. There's a very important relationship between fatty foods and the steroid hormones. And the steroid hormones obviously also play an important role in PCOS. So working on your digestive system and working on fats, intermittent fasting, food diary, elimination of problem foods, and of course all the great nutritional supplements that Youngevity has for the digestive system is the first thing you do for PCOS. And it's the first thing you do for any health challenge. And it's the first thing you do if you just want to increase your longevity. The less food you eat, the longer you live. Period. End of story. I was talking to someone today about I think this person's on the call even, about his wife. She's 71 years old and she's got a weight issue. Nobody is 71 years old should have a weight issue because eating is for children. Eating is for kids. When we reach a certain age, if we're still eating like a kid, when our metabolism has slowed down and our bodies have slowed down, we're going to pay the price for it. So eating is critical to understand. Reducing your calories is critical to understand. It's the only surefire way to increase longevity. And if you have any inflammatory condition like PCOS, likewise, it's critical. Now, when you have an eating problem, you almost are guaranteed have what's called dysbiosis. I should say a food problem, not an eating problem, but a food problem. Dysbiosis, which means disturbances in gut bacteria, as well as leaky gut, which follows dysbiosis. And so using nutritional supplements to correct dysbiosis, in addition to the food stuff, which is the first thing you do, eliminating problem foods, food diary, eating less food, etc., you want to work on the gut bacteria and you want to work on the leaky gut. And we've got great supplements for that. I-26 is a superstar for correcting dysbiosis and what sometimes is called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Dysbiosis is like a master term that includes SIBO. So the I-26 is a must-have. reading this article, just to refer back to Food is Medicine, Diet's Role in Parkinson's Disease, I-26 is a miracle for people with Parkinson's disease too, or movement disorders of any kind, or autoimmunity issues of any kind, all of which is likewise related to dysbiosis, intestinal health, and food. Also, the Daily Digest, which I think is back out, correct me if I'm wrong, which is a daily supplement that you can take, comes in a little plastic bag.
Yes, it is.
Your daily supplements come in a little plastic bag. Great nutritional supplement, I-26. I'm sorry, Nightly Essence. I absolutely love the Nightly Essence. Working upstream at the level of the stomach with the ultimate enzymes can be very helpful. For PCOS patients, taking the ultimate enzymes on an empty stomach can also help if you're dealing with dysmenorrhea or problems with your menstrual cycle, pain, fibromyalgia, which often is associated with PCOS. Taking your ultimate enzymes on an empty stomach. And then for building or strengthening the intestinal lining, I don't want to get into the mechanism now, except to say that once the intestine becomes inflamed, dirt gets into the bloodstream, and that's really where the disease process begins. Remember, the intestine is not part of the body in terms of how we're speaking today. Obviously, it's part of the body, but in terms of how we're speaking today, the intestine is a holding room for the stuff to get into the blood. The blood, all the stuff in the intestine has to get into the blood very, very carefully for a lot of reasons. When the intestinal lining becomes inflamed, things get into the bloodstream willy-nilly. That's what leaky gut is all about. And that is really the first step in the actual disease process of all diseases. Toxicity gets into the blood. Real quickly, the blood is really interesting. When we think about the blood, if you're not a scientist or chemist or medical professional, you think the blood's a liquid, but it's so much more than that. It's an organ. It's best thought of as an organ. It's very, very complicated. There's so many things that happen in the blood in terms of biochemistry, in terms of concentration of various molecules and proteins, in terms of its acid level or its pH level, in terms of its oxygen level, in terms of its temperature, in terms of its viscosity. All of this is super, super, super tightly controlled and regulated. Once things get into the bloodstream through a leaky gut, yes, it's true the body has some mechanisms for dealing with it, but it disturbs the blood chemistry so severely that it can't help but lead to long-term health challenges, which means backtracking to patching up the leaky gut is very important. Now, the most important step is going to be watch the foods you eat, because foods will induce inflammatory reactions in the intestine. We all heard about gluten. This is one of the biggest problems with gluten, is gluten will inflame the lining of the intestine, leading to leaky gut. But there's more than just gluten. There's other components in vegetables that will inflame the intestine. Sugar, in the long run, will inflame the intestine. Fried fats are one of the most egregious inflamers of the intestine. So French fries, pizza, chips, all the foods we love, the fried oils and deep fried fats. And then estrogen, the female hormone estrogen, which is ironic because estrogen is also involved in PCOS, will also inflame the intestine. So this is where what very often happens in the disease process can ensue, and that's the vicious spiral. A vicious spiral is where A leads to B, leads to C, which leads back to A, which leads back to B and C, which leads back to A, B, and C, and back to A and B and C, and on it goes. Technically, it's called a negative feedback loop, but I call it a vicious spiral that keeps going down and down and down. So if your estrogen is tweaked, and there's a lot of reasons why it can be tweaked from foods or from exposure to estrogen in the environment or from intentional exposure to estrogen or for body fat or for metabolic issues, that will inflame the intestine, leading to more leaky gut, which will cause more toxicity and eventually cause more estrogen problems and more leaky gut, and downward you'll go with your vicious spiral. So if you have estrogen issues, that has to be addressed as well. I'll talk about that here in a second. Step number 2, so that's your food. First thing, PCOS patient, food. If you want, you think, oh, Ben, he's always talking about food. He's just some Boulder, Colorado hippy-dippy guy. Here's how you test it. Stop eating for a day. If you have fibromyalgia or endometriosis or menstrual problems or autoimmune issues or any health issue, you'll notice that when you fast, you feel better. Most people who fast will say that. They feel better when they fast. So just test it yourself. The second thing is work with your blood sugar system. Read the book Metabolic Syndrome. Reduce your intake of fast-burning carbohydrates. The only carbohydrates that you really want if you're going through this healing process are from vegetables. Vegetables provide plenty of carbohydrates. You don't need grain carbohydrates, flour carbohydrates, certainly not sugar carbohydrates. Vegetables are a great place to get your carbohydrates. And eat less food, less calories. Calories will also throw off the blood sugar or the metabolic system, so just reducing your calories can help. We only need about 1,000 calories a day. You can be very comfortable with 1,000 calories a day. As shocking as that sounds, you can be very, very comfortable with 1/3 to 1/4 of what we eat, most of us eat all day. Just to keep it in perspective, a Big Mac has about 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories. So keeping your keeping your caloric intake to under 1,000 calories a day calms everything down. And that's really what we're talking about here, is calming everything down. Food is energy, boom, explosion. We want to calm everything down, relax everything, in terms of biochemistry, that is. And so calorie restriction, the ketogenic diet is the ideal way to eat, quintessential way to eat. And the ketogenic diet is not a high-fat diet. It's a high percentage fat diet. So it doesn't mean you can eat all the fat you want. It means you can eat a high percentage of your calories should be coming from fat. And by fat, we mean not heated, processed, or fried fat. We're talking about eggs, not overcooked. We're talking about fish, again, not overcooked. Green leafy vegetables. Yes, green leafy vegetables are a good source of fat, particularly essential fatty acids. Avocados. What else is a good source of fat? Not a lot, unfortunately. Seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, raw. Once you cook them, you destroy the fat.
Butter?
You destroy the oil. Butter's a great one, absolutely. Yes, butter's great for a lot of reasons. And I can talk about that some other time. By the way, butter contains a fatty acid that's very important for digestive health. The word butter comes from the name butyric acid. And butyric acid, which is a fatty acid that's found in generous amounts in butter, is very protective against colon cancer and very important for the energy of the intestinal cells. Excuse me, Gary, you got to call me back, buddy. Hang on a second here. So yeah, butter is definitely good. And then also using nutrients that support digestive health. I forgot to mention leaky gut. Fucoid Z can help strengthen the digestive barrier, the intestinal barrier. Fucoid Z, as opposed to Z radical. Fucoid Z is the capsules. I like that much better than the Z radical. And then also the collagen peptides, excuse me, and also TMR shake. All will have intestinal wall strengthening properties. Collagen peptides, Fucoid Z, and your TMR shake. And then for the nutritional support for metabolic syndrome, for the blood sugar system, the healthy blood sugar pack. We got a whole pack for that. Could be called the healthy longevity pack if we wanted to, because of its positive benefits for longevity, for increasing lifespan. I also would throw in the ultimate selenium, or I'm sorry, is the ultimate selenium, that is part of the healthy blood sugar pack, I think. The ultimate niacin, no, it's not. So then throw that.
Selenium, the ultimate selenium is in the brain and heart pack.
Brain and heart pack, right. So the ultimate selenium, ultimate niacin. Niacin plays a very important role in blood sugar control. And then ultimate selenium, and then there was one more, MSM, the ultimate MSM. That can also be helpful. CFX and Zinc FX are also important for blood sugar control. If you want to throw a couple other things in, I would throw in the Immortalium, which is made for longevity, but it also has some positive benefits for metabolic syndrome. And then the third point on the triangle of disease, which if you work on the first 2 points, the beautiful thing about the foundation of the triangle of disease is if you work on the foundation of the triangle of disease, the third point will start to resolve itself. Nonetheless, once you have PCOS, you have which is a severe metabolic disturbance, there's certain things you're going to want to do for your hormone system. Now, let me just say this. The number one reason why people have hormone problems, and that includes men who are going through andropause, and we get this question a lot. Oh, what can I do? I'm a man. I'm losing my testosterone. I'm having problems with my libido and muscle strength and all the things that happen with testosterone. And we hear this with women all the time, with hot flashes and with menopausal symptoms. The number one reason why people have male hormone androgenic and female hormone estrogenic health challenges as they get older is, guess what? Metabolic syndrome. And as you know from your book, Becca and Dr. Wallach, has been talking about this for years. Metabolic syndrome is a short jump to from metabolic syndrome, it's a short jump to issues with your steroid hormones. So if you want more testosterone and you're older, or you want to avoid estrogenic health issues and you're a woman as you get older, work on metabolic syndrome, the second point of the triangle of disease. That being said, there's a lot you could do directly at the level of the adrenal glands. For one thing, essential fatty acids are incredibly important. Your ultimate EFAs are very, very important for the female hormone system. So making sure that you're taking 9 to 12 ultimate EFAs a day. I know they say 3 a day. I recommend 9 to 12 ultimate EFAs a day. Your ultimate selenium can help balance out estrogen. This is really, really important. Talk about selenium as being important for the heart, which it is, important for the immune system, which it is, important for the brain, which it is. It also has an estrogen balancing effect. So for people who have PCOS who are dealing with excess estrogen, you can use your ultimate selenium. For testosterone, and PCOS also involves male hormone, keeping your blood sugar down is very important. Working with your digestive system is also very important. You can also use your zinc FX, which is very important for testosterone. I would be doing a little higher doses of Beyond Tangy Tangerine for some of the plant-derived minerals, which are very detoxifying. And if you have problems with processing your fats, if you had a gallbladder taken out, or you have liver issues, you want to make sure that you're using your ultimate enzymes as well. Ultimate enzymes, as we talked about earlier, they're going to help you with inflammatory issues, and they're going to help you derive energy from your nutrients, but they will also help you process fats and help with hormone production if you're dealing with a fatty liver or a gallbladder health issue. And many times women who have PCOS are dealing with these kinds of fatty issues at the level of the gallbladder, or at the level of the liver, or even at the level of the intestine. If you do these, this is the beautiful thing about really all the protocols we talk about, which the medical model cannot say. If you do everything we said today and you have PCOS, digestive health, laying off problem foods, restricting your calories, going ketogenic, staying away from fast-burning sugars, using your blood sugar, healthy blood sugar pack, Fucoid Z and I-26 and things that patch up the gut, all the things we just talked about in the last 20 to 30 minutes, guaranteed, 100% guaranteed you will improve. And to the extent that you follow all of the things we talk about, your condition can completely disappear. There's no medical strategy that can make that claim. There's no medical strategy that can make that claim about any health condition. Only nutrition and lifestyle can make that claim. Only nutritional strategies and lifestyle strategies can make the claim that they can reverse health challenges. No medical strategy can do that. None, with the exception of perhaps you can say maybe antibiotics, but those have their own nasty secondary problems associated with them, including antibiotic resistance, which is a severe health problem. So if you have PCOS, digestive health, metabolic health, that is blood sugar health, work on the second point of the triangle of disease, balance out estrogen. There's a lot of ways you could do that. Make sure you're processing your fats correctly. And then if you wanted to throw a couple other things in, there's wonderful estrogen balancing substances in cruciferous vegetables, including 2 big ones that they will actually sell in health food stores, but you'll find them in broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and cabbage and kale. These are generally referred to as cruciferous vegetables. These components that are so protective against female hormone or excess female hormone. And by the way, everything we're talking about here is great for menopausal women and perimenopausal women too. PCOS, the symptoms of PCOS oftentimes mimic the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause, and PCOS patients will be more at risk for a lousy menopause. So if you're going, you don't have PCOS, but you're going through menopausal issues, you may want to follow some of these protocols as well. And I've always said that cruciferous vegetables are a menopausal woman, a perimenopausal woman's best friend. They're also a PCOS patient's best friend. And all of the strategies we're talking about here will protect you against excess estrogen, which is not only associated with PCOS and not only associated with menopausal or perimenopausal issues, it's also associated with cancer, reproductive cancer, breast cancer, which is going through whose rates are going through the roof. Colon cancer may have an estrogen component. Autoimmunity has an estrogenic component. Hashimoto's has an thyroiditis has an estrogenic component. Pretty much all inflammatory health conditions have some degree of estrogen involved, and all of these strategies we're talking about here will help with that too, which is another beautiful thing about lifestyle and nutritional strategies for dealing with health. You get multiple benefits. So you treat yourself for PCOS, you reduce your risk of cancer, and you increase your longevity, and you decrease the likelihood of an autoimmune disease, etc. So you get multiple beneficial effects. Again, the medical model cannot say this. So if you go into the doctor for your PCOS, not only are you not going to enjoy the benefits associated with nutritional and lifestyle strategies that are extra PCOS or in addition to PCOS symptom reduction, but you'll also be increasing your longevity. So the medical model can't make any of these claims, and if you're going to the medical model to address these, you drank the Kool-Aid. You've been infected by a meme. You've been infected by a mind virus. And there's a great book, by the way, called Viruses of the Mind by a guy named Richard Brodie, B-R-O-D-I-E. He wrote it I think in the 1990s, before anybody knew about any of these ideas. And it really is a wonderful explanation of how this whole mind virus infection occurs. Now, there's more I want to say, but I know we've always run out of time, and I know we've got some calls, so we can further discuss. I'd like to further discuss this whole estrogen and testosterone issue, androgens and estrogens, which is associated with PCOS, but it's associated with a lot of health challenges, other health challenges. Maybe we can do that some other time. I hope the main point I want everybody to get across, and this is really the main point for every health challenge, they're not medical. They're lifestyle. And if you go to the doctor, they'll say there's no cure. They'll say you're going to be on this medicine the rest of your life. But if you address lifestyle strategies that are behind your symptoms, not only will you be actually reversing your chronic degenerative disease, but you'll also be reducing your risk of other health challenges, which we know comorbidities are always present. You'll be reducing your risks of other health challenges and adding years to your life. Thank you.
Pharmacist Ben.
Yes.
You know, we're at the top of the hour, and we have 20 questions.
I know we should well, why don't we just do questions next time?
We could do that. How about Monday? Are you available Monday?
Oh, how about Monday? I meant next Friday.
Oh, yeah, and next Friday. I mean, we could just do questions.
We really should do questions. But these are good. Did I make the point that this is all things we can do ourselves? We can be our own health authority. As Doc always says, you can pick yourself up by your bootstraps. I don't want anybody to feel condemned to PCOS, autoimmunity, atrial fibrillation, diabetes, whatever it is. You are not condemned. We have so much power here. And something as simple as laying off problem foods can make enough of a difference that you could see how much power your lifestyle choices make when it comes to chronic degenerative diseases. That's the real message here, is we can all do this ourselves. This should be a message of inspiration, where we feel inspired to make these changes so that, it's now December 27th. This is a perfect time to decide to make changes for the year 2025 in terms of our health by getting on the Healthy Start Pack, by getting on the auxiliary supplements, by coming to Daily with Doc calls and introducing your friends to Daily with Doc calls as well. We can all do this, and we can help our friends and our family and our loved ones do it as well. Okay, so go ahead. Let's take questions real quick, because I know we only have a couple.
Okay, absolutely. So the first one is one that I promised I'd ask today. Susan says, Happy New Year, everyone. On the topic of potassium, I have a client that thinks he needs more potassium. Between the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, and the plant dry minerals, he says he's only getting about 10% of the RDA of 3,400 milligrams for men. Should he add a separate potassium supplement to his program?
You can do that. You can do that. Vegetables and vegetable juices are the best way. Nature has really vegetables are your main source of potassium. And one of the reasons why we have potassium deficiencies is because we're not eating our vegetables. Yes, you can get them from Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and there are potassium supplements. Veggies are the best way to do it. And the reason is potassium lives in balance with sodium. And so you want to be careful with the balance. The body has a tendency to hold on to sodium and has a tendency to waste potassium. So if you start taking potassium supplements, you could throw things off. and potassium supplements that's why they're a prescription. Potassium supplements actually, you can get them in a health food store. That's true, but they're also prescription potassium supplements. And the reason is potassium is very, very important for cardiovascular health. And it's balanced with sodium as well as probably with calcium and magnesium too, although not as much as with sodium, is very, very tightly controlled and regulated. So vegetables are probably the best way to get your potassium. Make sure you're eating lots of veggies. You can supplement with it. It's not like it's a deadly supplement, but you want to be a little bit careful. You don't want to swallow a whole bunch of potassium pills, that's for sure. But if you just took a potassium supplement, that wouldn't be the end of the world. If you're sure you're deficient in potassium, you may not be deficient in potassium. You may have enough potassium in your body just from the foods you're getting, aside from the I think he said 3,500 milligrams. What did he say? He was
3,400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from, well, that's the RDA. So he was saying he's getting 350 milligrams, or he's getting 1/10 of that. You may be getting more from foods. So I would recommend getting potassium from foods. Respect potassium. We got plenty of sodium. Sodium is added to all kinds of foods. Sodium is snuck into processed foods so the food manufacturers can put more sugar in the foods. That's why you'll see sodium stuck in foods that, like cookies and cakes. Or candy. They'll put sodium in there so that they can put more sugar in there, and sugar being very addictive. So sodium is in canned foods and processed foods and boxed foods. It's pretty much everywhere. If you're eating fast food, you're getting lots of sodium, and sodium lives in balance with potassium. So many of us are over-sodiumized and under-potassiumized. It's very common. On the other hand, taking too much potassium can also be a problem. So you want to be a little bit careful with that. I would be getting my potassium from your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which is a good source of potassium, plus fruit, veggies, lots of veggies, veggie juices.
So she mentions that she does know a few people that add potassium salt to their food.
And that's that. There's something called not real salt. There's salt substitutes that use potassium instead of sodium. Like they use sodium. Salt is sodium chloride, and there's another type of salt. I forgot what they call it, like fake salt or some weird name. And it's potassium chloride. It tastes like salt, but it gives you potassium instead of sodium. But again, you want to be a little bit careful with potassium, because the cardiovascular heart is very dependent on potassium. You don't want to throw things off. They'll usually give people potassium when they're on certain diuretics, or if they have heart disease and they notice that they're low in potassium, they'll give prescription potassium. But I'd respect the potassium.
All right. And I know there's also potassium blockers.
Well, that's because potassium is so strong. But another thing you can do also is you can reduce your sodium intake. And by reducing your sodium intake, that will make your potassium relatively higher. And that's another thing you can do to have more potassium effects, because it's kind of a balance. So your sodium levels go down, you'll have the same amount of potassium, but it'll be relatively higher. And that's another thing you can do.
All right. And so let's go to, and I think it's new salt. Thank you, AJ. New salt is what, because I was trying to think.
New salt. Yeah. New salt.
Yeah. Let's go to Phyllis. Phyllis has her hand up with some questions she's bringing in from the listening audience.
Yes.
Yes, we've got a couple questions from YouTube.
Yes.
Aaliyah, she wants to know about how dairy products affect PCOS. Should we stay away from
They're
milk?
a disaster for all hormone systems, because cows are given hormones. Not to mention they already have high levels of one of the most important stimuli. Remember, this is all about revving the system up. We talk about calories, we're talking about energy. We're talking about metabolically our systems like this. So systems that make things grow and make cells divide. These are all this is really where the health challenges come from. We're revving the system up. The body likes to be calm. Everything likes to be calm. Our minds like to be calm. A baby likes to be calm. Our bodies like to be calm. We're revving the system up with sugar. We're revving the system up with calories. We're revving the system up with high concentrations of fats, particularly distorted fats. One of the things that revs the system up is hormones, particularly insulin. This is what insulin does. Insulin is a revving you up hormone. When most people think of insulin, they think of insulin as a blood sugar hormone, which it is, but really it has an effect of speeding things up. It's a growth substance, makes cells divide, makes things happen. That's why it's associated with cancer. That's why it's associated with a shortened lifespan. That's why reducing your insulin by reducing your sugar adds years to your life. Well, it turns out that cows have a molecule that is similar to insulin called IGF. IGF is a rev you up substance. IGF stands for insulin growth factor, insulin-like growth factor. IGF is associated with cancer. It's associated with hormonal issues like PCOS. It's associated with autoimmunity. It's associated with inflammation because it revs things up, and dairy is one of the richest sources of IGF. Dairy, particularly milk, does not do a body good in the sense that there's all kinds of problems in milk. Is there good stuff in milk? Yes. There's calcium in milk, and there's good fats in milk if the cows are eating grass, assuming they are, which you can't always assume, of course. There's also amino acids and a protein in milk. So milk has some nutritional value, and this is very important in the world of nutrition. Sometimes in the world of nutrition, just because this food has a lot of good nutritional value doesn't make it an overall quality food. And yes, milk has a lot of nutritional value in terms of its components, but it is not a quality food in terms of its overall constituency. And yes, indeed, because of its association with insulin-like growth factor, because of its association with female hormone, and female hormone comes out of milk too. That's one of the things that milk carries is female hormone, whether it's breast milk from a human or cow's milk, and also because of toxicity, hormone toxicity that's in the milk, just from what the cows are eating. Milk is not a good food. It's especially not a good food for people who have inflammatory conditions, and it's especially a problematic food for estrogen issues and androgen issues. And remember, PCOS is both male hormone and female hormone. And yes, it can definitely be involved in causing or making PCOS worse. Experiment. Lay off the milk. Watch what happens. If you're a milk drinker and you have PCOS, almost guaranteed there's a connection.
Very good to know. We have one more quick question from Nicole. She wants to know how often to take the I-26. I assume she means how many servings a day if we're addressing PCOS.
It's better to take a little more than it is to take a little less. You can't really overdose on it. I recommend a tablespoon once or twice a day. I don't have any real dramatic issues, but I take half a teaspoon every day just to take it. So it can't hurt you to take it. It's a wonderful supplement. A tablespoon twice a day for sure.
Thank you. And back to you, Becca.
Oh, you put it in water. If you want to know how to take it, I put it in my smoothie. It tastes kind of eggy, but you can put it right in water. It goes right into water. And I know that there's the tablets, which everybody loves. You can also do that. I'm not a fan, but I know Becky, you like the tablets.
No, I don't. Doc likes the tablets. He likes the chewable.
Oh, AJ. It's AJ likes the tablets.
AJ likes the chewables too. Okay. So, but you said it tastes kind of eggy. I think it reminds me of the flavor of an eclair, the shell of an eclair.
Kind of. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and you can mix it with everything.
Yeah, it's great. It's delicious. There's no toxicity, no side effects. In fact, that should be a subject for one of our talks one of these days.
Yes. All right, let's fit in Jill real quick with her hand up. And Jill, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Yes.
Hi, Jill.
Hi.
Yes.
Sorry, I was turning off my headset. I have two pretty quick questions, I think. First of all, I have one of my best customers takes the healthy brain and heart pack and lots of other things from me. But he also is a great customer at a local fresh pressed juice stand nearby. Okay. And he literally drinks 8 to 12 of them a day. Yes, fresh pressed juices. Some would be vegetable, but probably most fruit juice.
They're kind of expensive. That's like $100 a day in juices.
Yep, I know. Now we're only open 3 days a week, so he's only doing it 3 days a week. But is that a problem? Like, is there too much sugar in that? Is that causing him a problem with his nutrition?
I don't know. When you do juices, a lot of times they'll use the base will be apple juice because apples are cheap. Apples are much cheaper than vegetables. So you got to be a little bit careful with these juice stands and Jamba Juices and these juice places because they'll use apple as a base. Apple juice, like any fruit juice, is absolutely not a health food because of the high glycemic index, which means the quick entry of sugar into the blood. When you drink a juice, and actually when you drink anything, you bypass digestion. You don't have to digest the liquid. It goes right into the intestine, and then it crosses into the blood very quickly. So that's why Beyond Tangy Tangerine is such an effective supplement, because it bypasses digestion, it goes into the blood very quickly. But if you do a fruit juice, especially if the fruit has been somehow processed or it's frozen.
It's not processed. It's not processed. It's
It's a
fresh,
fresh apple.
pressed. Yeah.
Is it organic?
I don't know. I'll have to ask them, but they
It's
don't
not
advertise that it
organic.
is. So
If
it's not. It's not.
organic, yeah, if it's not organic, you're getting a bunch of chemicals in your juice.
Yeah, right.
You gotta be, and those are going to get into the system really quickly too. So you gotta
Okay.
be a little bit careful.
So be careful. Apples, a lot of apple.
When
in
I
it,
used to
and-
get a juice, I used to get a juice every morning at our local health food store, Alfalfa's here in Colorado, in Boulder. And I would always make sure that they used all vegetables. And I would say because they're taught to use apple juice because apple juice is so cheap. And you can use frozen apple juice as a base. And so they'll market it as a veggie juice, but it'll have some veggies in a base of apple juice.
all right.
So
Well,
you know what I'm saying? The juice places, it's one thing to be McDonald's and to be killing people with your French fries and your hamburgers. And that's one level of nastiness. But a second level of nastiness is when you purport to be healthy and you're giving people apple juice at the bottom and they think they're healthy and they're doing, that's almost worse. I don't know if it's worse, but it's bad too. So you got to really be very, very careful with these juices.
I'm going to go read the ingredients, and certainly watermelon juice is not good, right?
It's not as bad as apple juice, but
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, but
All
it's, any fruit is designed to have its juice combined with fiber. When you juice an apple, you lose the fiber. The fiber is nature's way of making sure the sugar kind of slowly enters into the bloodstream. Without the fiber, it's like an injection of sugar. And that's a big problem. And moms, new moms, or any moms really, with newborns, don't give your kids apple juice or pear juice because you're setting them up for a lifetime of dysglycemia. And this is one of the places where the first point of the triangle disease turns into the second point of the triangle disease is from the innocent, well-meaning moms who are giving their kids what they think is healthy, which is apple juice, which is not healthy for a baby. Not healthy for anybody, but especially not for a baby. Okay?
All right.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Ben. We have many, many more questions. Do you have time or?
We will. No, I got a bullet. Sorry, 10 after. But
Okay.
let's next week only questions.
Next week
And why
only
don't you
questions.
advertise now, Becca? Start advertising early so people can get their questions together, and we'll get it. But listen, I want everybody to understand. Last thing, I know I said it a bunch of times. I'm gonna say it again. We can all do this ourselves. I'm happy to guide people through. I love doing it. I'm not passing the buck, but I don't want you to feel like you need anybody. You can do this yourself. We can all do this ourselves. It's basically just plumbing. It's just how liquids and fluids and material gets into the bloodstream that leads to all of our chronic health challenges, whether it's at the level of the digestive system or at the level of metabolism. It's all about the blood. It's all about what they call fluid dynamics or hemodynamics, in addition to the biochemistry that's associated with disturbances at that level. These are all food issues largely. We can all do this ourselves. Get on a good nutritional supplement program like Becca and myself and Sportis and Ruth Ellen and Marilyn and Phyllis and and Jill and Albert can tell you about. Reduce your intake of foods in generally and then lay off of problem foods. And it's amazing what you can do with this God-given system that is programmed to heal, programmed to be healthy, and programmed for 120 years of longevity. That's our birthright.
That's it. That's it. But it takes us taking a big part of that, folks. We can't just, and I totally believe in prayer. Absolutely. But we have to take care of the temple we've been given. And that includes what we put in it and on it. And it's up to us, right?
Yes, we can all do this. And we can help our friends and our family and loved ones.
Absolutely. And as we help our friends, our family, and our loved ones, we can also get a thank you check, which is something that most products don't offer or services. So, folks, thank you so much for joining us here on The Daily with Doc today, Pharmacist Friday with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. If I could get our co-hosts up on the screen with us, I couldn't do this without them, as they've got so many different working parts that they're in control of that I don't have to do all by myself. And it's fantastic that we are able to work together, Ben, and just create a system set up to help others. But like Ben said, It's all in your hands, folks. We're just here to guide you. You don't, some people need us, absolutely. But a little bit of common sense, listening to the programs, implementing what it is. If you're working with somebody, get back with them. They can help you get the products that you need. If you're not, you can give our team a call at 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. And if you have questions, you can send questions to questions@dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's questions@dailywithdoc.com. My name is Becca Dukes. As the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health, I am so blessed to be able to bring this program to you and to have certified holistic health coaches as part of my co-host team. Today, we have with us Albert, way down in South Africa, just proving that we are an international company and that nutrition and intentional supplementation is needed around the world. Thank you so much, Albert, as he's helping to let people in. We have Marilyn, who is bringing her skill of typing and dictation, putting that into the chat here in the live Zoom, which you can only see here in the live Zoom. So thank you so much, Marilyn, for all that you do. And we have my executive production manager, Ruth Ellen Sanchez, as she is helping to organize, keep everything together and flowing smoothly. We also have AJ, who is part of the technical crew. Wait, I can't see that. I can't see that.
It says, what about Ben Bites?
Oh, Ben Bites. Well,
Who
we're
said
going to
that?
be doing Ben Bites.
Said that.
When's the next Ben Bites?
AJ. That sounds like AJ. Where's AJ?
That is AJ.
That's cute. Very cute. Very cute.
So,
You want
yeah,
this week?
so
This week. This coming
this
week.
week,
This
this
coming week.
upcoming week.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to have questions on Daily with Doc with Pharmacist Ben. We're going to have Ben Bites, folks. Ben, you know, we get a lot of requests for you. So people just can't get enough of our pharmacists. And so we love that.
I'm proud and honored to be the longevity pharmacist. That's so awesome to me. You know, I've been part of longevity. This is my 27th year.
That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome. And I'm honored to be part of your team in helping to get this information out, as all of us on the screen are. So AJ, he's been instrumental in helping to get us on all the different platforms and making sure that we're doing it right. Thank you, AJ.
Coach Rod.
And we have Coach Rod, who is helping to watch all of the different platforms. If there's questions, he does some interaction there to help keep the momentum going. So thank you so much, Coach Rod. You know, it's a group effort.
Sergeant. Coach Rod's looking like a drill sergeant today.
Probably so.
I think it's just the color of his shirt, but that's a really cool logo, isn't it?
It is, man. I wouldn't be messing around with Coach Rod. Good to see you, Coach Rod. All right, I'm gonna boss.
Thank
Happy
you,
everybody, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.
All right, thank you, Pharmacist Ben.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye for now. And AJ, is there a scheduled Pharmacist Ben Bites? Not yet. Okay, we're gonna definitely make sure that when we get a schedule of the next Ben Bites, we get that out to you as well. And in order to know what's going on right in the news, as things are happening, make sure that you go to our website, dailywithdoc.com, and sign up for our email list, as we do have emails that go out announcing what is coming up, what is happening, and that allows you to be able to plug in as it happens. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here today on Daily with Doc. We have so many questions. I apologize we didn't get to even half of the ones that were coming in, but get back with the person that shared this program with you, especially if you found answers, because the answers that you heard are also the solutions, folks, to so many different poor health conditions. And it is in your hands to be able to fight back and take control. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you again for joining us here. We will see you next week on Daily with Doc, zoom.dailywithdoc.com, Monday through Friday, except holidays, from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, and 3 to 4 Eastern. And if you're in South Africa, it's 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Friday. Bye for now. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.